Welcome to this session at Google Next 2022, where we have an exciting panel to discuss how you can lift and transform your VMware estate faster with Google Cloud VMware Engine. I'm Sai Gopalan, a product manager at Google Cloud. I'm your host today. With me, I have my amazing panel. Manoj.
Hello, Sai. My name is Manoj Sharma, and I am the Director of Product Management at Google Cloud for VMware Engine and related aspects.
Andrew, do you want to go next?
Yeah, so I thank you, and thanks for having me here. I'm excited about the panel. I have worked working as CTO for Health, Welfare, and Estate Idaho, and we're doing a lot of things to advance our technologies into modern states. So it's been a good discussion. Thank you.
Wonderful. Patrick.
Hi, my name is Pat Herman. I'm a managing director with Deloitte Consulting US, and I represent our cloud engineering practice where I lead our distributed cloud go-to-markets.
Amazing. Thank you for being here. And today we will briefly cover a few exciting announcements, have a good discussion about Google Cloud VMware Engine, and then wrap up. Without further ado, first off, we are announcing a new addition to our mainframe modernization solution called Dual Run, which lets you run your mainframes on premises and in Google Cloud in parallel to properly test and validate before you cut over. This service will enable you to alleviate common risks associated with mainframe modernization. Next, we have Migration Center, which is a new Google Cloud service that will streamline migration journeys with intelligent insights and actionable recommendations. This will bring together tools and methodologies from cost estimation all the way to actual migration execution. It will help you make critical decisions on the optimal migration and modernization pathways for your organization faster and with greater confidence. The public preview of this service is now open. With that out of the way, let's quickly get started with our panel. Before we get started, Manoj, can you tell us a little bit about Google Cloud VMware Engine?
Yeah, absolutely, Sai. First of all, I'm really glad to be in the same panel as you and Andrew and Patrick. So enterprises today want the best that technology has to offer, right? And Google Cloud gives a transformation journey to these customers. So when you peek into the infrastructure of such customers, you'll find that most of it is still on premises and in further running mostly on VMware and supported by a vast ecosystem of IT services such as data protection, security, and storage services. However, enterprises face a challenge. How can they obtain the advantages of the cloud without having to break the bank and change everything they've invested in? Cloud projects can take many months before they can complete and require a significant amount of investment. So we believe Google Cloud VMware Engine can solve this problem very effectively by giving customers the best of the worlds of on-premise and on-premise VMware as well as the cloud in two simple steps, which we call lift and transform. And so here's how. Step one, customers can create a new private VMware environment in Google Cloud in a matter of minutes. And they can extend their on-prem networks and move their workloads without missing a single database query and start to take advantage of the 99.99% availability in a single site. They can take advantage of the dedicated and high-performance environment and save operational costs of running the environment. What's more, their existing investments into IT services, the data protection, et cetera, can continue. And that's what we call the lift portion. Step two is when they can take advantage of the tremendous number of innovative services that Google Cloud has to offer, warehousing, transformation through BigQuery, application transformation with Kubernetes engine, and centralize operations management with cloud operations and so forth. So that's our transform portion. Now, the natural next question is like, what are the scenarios where we are seeing customers take advantage of this, two-step journey, the lift and transform capabilities of GCVE? So as we saw, like VMware platform runs all of IT, right? From development to the most mission critical workloads that are core to business. So when customers run in Google Cloud, they can bring all of that. But there are common patterns that we have seen emerge as customers have initiated their lift and transform journey. And so what are those? We see that customers want to migrate their entire data centers to the cloud due to events such as capacity refresh, lease, or licensing renewal, or data center exits. They might have acquired companies, so there might be mergers or acquisitions or even divestitures. The notion of a private cloud architecture with drag and drop migration and the ability to choose from dozens of worldwide locations helps a lot here. Now, for those who are looking to develop a cloud-based DR strategy, like eliminate the cost of secondary sites or simplify upcoming audits, protect against ransomware, protect the tier 2 or 3 apps, uh, you know, have geographic risk diversification, can look to Google Cloud VMware Engine to create a DR strategy. And they can do this with very little risk and keep their existing DR tooling. So it's a very simple adaptation of Google Cloud to solve this problem. For customers looking to support distributed desktop infrastructure in multiple geos, Google Cloud can address seasonality through dynamic capacity and support more end users at scale. For example, for the work from anywhere initiatives. And our platform is compatible with industry-leading VDI solutions, such as VMware Horizon and Citrix. And finally, we don't want customers to just start with VMware and stop there. We want customers who are looking to unlock the value of Google services for their applications and infrastructure. And we're giving customers a path towards moving applications to Google Cloud and then modernize when they need. For example, using the data services, machine intelligence services, application infrastructure, or security services that Google has to offer. So I think that's really what we offer altogether to our customers. And just to wrap this up and give folks a sense of how to think of this platform, right? Beyond just the use cases, what are the strategic levers of this platform? The platform's built for what you bring from on-premises, but also where you want to go tomorrow. For example, it supports highly performance-sensitive workloads, right? The platform has 100 gigabits dedicated network, useful for telco workloads, mission-critical transactional databases run by retailers, for example. And not only can customers get better performance due to that, but they can also save costs by overcommitting capacity, for example, right? So the VMware platform allows compute and storage overcommit, and compute overcommit helps bursty workloads such as desktop. But the model in Google Cloud VMware Engine is that you buy an entire cloud, and you can control that cloud any way you like. And so you can customize the infrastructure to match licensing or tenancy constrained workloads. Customers often have licensing requirements like the flexibility to adjust hardware configuration to match these requirements can significantly change the cost profile and the TCO. And then customers can run any workload that needs the same architecture as you run on premises. There are many off-the-shelf custom applications that maybe cannot change or carry high risk of operational challenges due to change. Or let's say you want to actually transform, you want to run containers and microservices. You can create hybrid applications that can span both the public and private worlds, such as web and mobile applications running on Kubernetes, and cloud platform services that can reach into your business and operational data gravity that's running on VMware. So I think the service really offers a holistic capability of bridging both the world of today and what the world of tomorrow has to offer in Google Cloud.
Thank you, Manoj. That was a really, really insightful answer. I want to ask our panelists, Andrew, what made you decide to migrate in the first place, and why did you choose Google Cloud and VMware Engine?
Yeah, thanks, Sai. And Manoj, that was a great introduction to probably touch on some of the points that I would make. There's probably 624 reasons why we chose to work on this with Google, but I'll boil it down to a couple. I mean, one of our primary interests was just the partnership and how well we could work together. And that I worked with lots of companies over the year. Google has just stood up to be really one of the best in the sense of the engagement, the information sharing, and really helping us understand what we needed to realize as far as not just a GCV activity or commitment, but also what we could expect to leverage in the future, how that fit with other Google products, but also just as important, how that fits with other providers' products. We're not dedicated to one shop or one partner organization, and we needed a model that could work across, I won't name names, but across other primary providers out there. So when we were looking for first steps, part of that is, we run in VMware, how can we start to manage that better? And GCV provides us with an environment to move to, one that frankly is being maintained and operated in a much higher performance capacity than what we do ourselves, and a better security posture. And that's important for us because the information we carry is not just PI, PHI, but we have behavioral health, which is very sensitive data. We have social security information, which is sensitive, et cetera. So having that ability to work through a stronger security position is really important to us. But it also is the way Google has positioned it, where we can push that security profile or policy across other cloud providers. So we don't have to have 5 solutions. We can have one that basically homogenizes our security profile, our posture across all of our providers. So things like that have been really interesting for us. The education and planning and frankly just hand holding from Google as far as what we could do, how we need to evaluate our applications, the analysis that we do, and they use a couple of tools to look at our environment. We have 1,500 VMs we run. What do they comprise of? How well can they be updated? Can they be moved? Is there complications involved? Is there connections that we have to consider, et cetera? All of those things we've been able to work through together in partnership. And GCV for us is turned into a great first step. We're moving applications there now, and we're taking the next steps to look at what's the container cloud environments look like, GKE or cloud native or Anthos, and how can we start to put a roadmap in place to move through those different capabilities that Google has and really strengthen our position, both in performance and security and capabilities. So it's been just a fantastic journey. I could talk about it for an hour or two, but that kind of sums it up, I think, really is just the partnership engagement, the flexibility, not stuck with one vendor type capability and position that Google has, and then our ability to push things in a more homogeneous way across different environments. So thanks, Sai.
Thank you. How about you, Patrick? I'd love to hear your thoughts as well.
Sure, Sai. Our client in this case is a global multinational advisory company that picked Google Cloud Platform due to the really close mapping of their international locations and Google's points of presence, and just sort of the geographic diversity and where our locations for our client map to the locations where Google's providing services, which help meet data sovereignty and other requirements. We also picked GCVE in particular for the client because we knew that the effort for migration would be significantly reduced. The speed at which we would be able to migrate out of data centers would be enhanced, and that the skills which the client was going to retain their own operational capability. So the skills that they currently have on the VMware estate would continue to be leveraged, and that's a tremendous benefit because the change management burden is so greatly eased when there's really no significant new skill to train up on.
Thank you, Patrick. So, with that backdrop, right, can you tell us a little bit about the outcomes or the results that you've seen or expected? Patrick, why don't you go first this time?
Sure. Well, so the greatest impact has been really a consistently observed ability across regions of our client to increase the speed of migration to Google Cloud Platform by a factor of 5, meaning a 5x multiplier. And so that's really significantly, to Manoj's point, moving the value curve for getting out of data center and costs associated with those physical locations. It's moving that curve much farther forward into the future, which I think attenuates the concern a lot of our customers have about the double bubble costs. The other thing that does is it decouples the infrastructure transformation, and we're seeing this at our client. It's decoupling the mandate for the infrastructure transformation, which ultimately may be driven by a capacity constraint in a certain data center, or a hosting provider who's declared bankruptcy. It decouples that mandate to get out of that data center from the application transformation journey. And so it really allows migration to be separate from modernization. Now, there's many cases where you want to do those things together, and those are what Manoj referred to, I think, as investment platforms, or sort of the capital platforms of the business of the customer. But there's many less significant workloads that it's just better to not have the pressure to have to move an entire ecosystem of apps and transform it at one time. You'd be better served by being able to get it out of whatever precarious infrastructure situation or mandate that you're facing, and be able to take your time to redesign, convert to microservices, containerized portions, and so forth. So we definitely have seen both of those benefits.
Awesome. Andrew?
Yeah, thanks. And Patrick, you touched on some really good points there. I mean, one of our concerns was just our posture in general, that we have 2 data centers that we rely on for primary and redundancy, if you will. And that's great, but in a little state like Idaho, they're not very far apart. In fact, they're 12 miles apart, so not much diversity geographically. And this, without having to apply and learn new skills, and my team is buried as far as work goes. That was a big driver for us. We can still work within the VMware context, if you will, but resolve what for us and many companies or states is the diversity target you want to make without having to go build a data center in Virginia or something, which is not something I'm going to do. So having that flexibility to work in a more diverse way within the environment has just been a really big plus for us. The odd one, which I've experienced in the past, is when you start to do the analysis to make these moves, you realize, I've got a bazillion VMs and applications, maybe half a bazillion, but certainly a number of them out there. What's their state? Do I use it still? Is it something that's constantly in play, or is it something that comes and goes, a dev environment or a test environment, for example, and so on? And just through the analysis, how are you going to look at GCP or other methodologies for delivering these capabilities? You get rid of the trash or the noise in there. So we see about a 30% reduction in the amount of environments that we need to run just because of cleanup. We see a significant reduction because we can move commercial applications to GCP and not have to deal with their idiosyncrasies, if you will, in our data center. And we see the rest of the application stack is now targeting environments, which is initially GCP and then eventually GKE with containers, that provide just some really visible reporting or insights into their usage. This is an environment that's expensive. This is one that has high volume. This one has low volume. This is one that has to, be here for certain times of the year, whatever those things are. It gives us a lot more structure in what's to analyze the real value. And for a state organization, bringing a value or total cost of ownership or ROI or whatever you want to classify it as discussion at the table is kind of odd, because we get grants and they just say spend it, where now we're trying to also be a little more diligent about how we spend things and get the best value for our money. So, and then I guess just the other real value for us has just been, again, the Google engagement and the education we're starting to we've been getting for a while with that relationship, how we should move into these environments, and that, the hand holding to help us get there, I guess, if you will. It's just been fantastic. So I can't say enough positive about just that partnership and connection.
Thank you, Andrew. While you're at it, why don't you tell us what's next? I mean, you've covered a number of those points already. So, maybe just a summary of, what's next for you.
Yeah, excellent. And we are obviously pushing GCV. We talked about some of that, but the subsequent focus for us has always been a roadmap of where can we go, and containers are a no-brainer. The flexibility that we see in there and the structure, I guess quality is really interesting to us. And we want to move to where we can use just services that are offered by Google or others, so that we see those performance and security aspects just part of that service that's delivered, and we don't have to really get into the weeds on that ourselves. So looking to containers, moving through that spectrum, I guess, if you will, from GKE, which is kind of, we'll call it basic Kubernetes implementation, to cloud native, all the way to Anthos, which will give us a multi-cloud environment and methodology, if you will. And if someone hasn't considered what Anthos can do for them in the long term, if you look at your longer roadmaps, I'd say that's an area of real high interest for us. And then finally, the data programs, which we're lighting up, and just the support we can get for that, either out of GCVE or out of the Kubernetes environments, or just the data in general, as we look at data lakes, BigQuery, the different methodologies we can apply for either getting or extracting or running MLAI on this data and so on. So we're going down that path for both containerizations, platform services, and data in a big way. So that's mostly what's next for us. And it's not always with Google, but it's significantly just because of the capabilities and the support.
Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, I'll come back to our client case study. As the migrations to Google Cloud Platform using GCVE continue, the intentional second step has always been to analyze what the final destination or the transformation is for each of the applications. And so, working with Google, we are leveraging Google's cloud assessment tools, and in particular looking for which apps are a good fit for containerization. The client's business is not spinning up applications and maintaining them for themselves. The client's business is serving their clients. So, in many cases, there's really just not an urgent need to rip apart and re-architect applications that are working. So, containerizing them to make sure that we have cross-cloud portability, that we have the ability to bring them back into the client's private estate if that was ever a need to, but just sort of future-proofing and making sure that those apps will run in any environment, whether it's at the edge or where have you, is an aim of the client. And in order to manage that sophistication from an orchestration perspective, we're excited about looking under the covers with Anthos, and maybe even evaluating Google Migrate for Anthos. So I think those are things that are in the future for us at the client. And then more broadly, as a consultant and a manager of a consulting practice, my team is really ramping up on taking GCVE to market in a much more significant way, leveraging this particular client experience as a lighthouse for future expansion. So really excited about that as well. We're seeing a lot of opportunity in the market.
Thank you, Patrick. In just 20 seconds, Manoj, what's next for VMware Engine?
Well, it's probably going to take a little longer than 20 seconds, but we've had a very exciting year, and we've seen, a lot of enterprises take advantage of the incredible capabilities we have to offer. And, I think we're transitioning into a platform. It's amazing to hear what Andrew and Patrick had to say, often coming up with examples of use cases which we didn't even imagine when we created the product, which is, truly a sign of us being a platform. So we are starting our journey there. For example, Google Cloud was the first external provider of VMware Cloud Universal, which allows customers to bring the value of VMware investments to Google Cloud. So I think that was a very important accomplishment, and we are seeing customers already take advantage of this. But looking ahead, we've just launched preview of automation interfaces. While the VMware platform itself can be fully automated, these interfaces, such as the VMware Engine API and CLI, allow customers to and partners to create, grow, and manage capacity of their environments. For example, using automatic triggers. An example is DR, where customers can dynamically create new VMware environments automatically upon failure and restore it in the cloud within minutes, right? And customers are increasingly creating larger scale environments. We are already offering unparalleled scale in our service through 32 node vSphere clusters, but we are starting to increase our scale and support 96 nodes per private cloud. So that's, it can house some of the largest contexts that you can imagine in the world. And while we're offering 4 nines of availability, as I mentioned earlier, customers can take advantage of even higher levels of protection and availability with stretch clusters. Stretch clusters gives them 0 RPO storage DR and network address spaces that can stretch across sites, allowing VMs to come up with absolutely no change in their configuration and minimize business disruption. So this is tremendously powerful capability building on already extremely powerful availability and data protection profiles. And we continue to do incredible work on the compliance front. We've done, the ISO, IEC, SOC2, and business associates agreement support for the healthcare industry. But we'll soon be expanding all of that with support for SOC1 compliance and also enable international compliance, such as ISMAP for the Japanese public sector or BSI C5 for the German financial sector. So as you can see, we're hard at work for customers such as Andrew, partners such as Patrick, and trying to make our platform more and more useful for our customers.
Thank you, Manoj. And with that, just a quick recap. Dual Run, part of our mainframe modernization solution, is designed to alleviate the common risks associated with mainframe modernization, as well as Migration Center, a new Google Cloud service that is in public preview right now. And with that, I'd love to thank our panel, Andrew, Patrick, Manoj. Finally, if you have a VMware estate on premises that you're looking to move to the cloud, Google Cloud VMware Engine is the best possible platform that you can look at. Thank you so much, everyone.